That I'm not making it up. Idris Elba really is with us live in the studio for a while. And I mean, you're here, obviously, Idris, to talk about Long Walk to Freedom, the Mandela biopic in which you play the title role. But my goodness me, when we booked this interview, we had no way of knowing that it would be conducted against such a poignant backdrop.
No, absolutely. I mean, you know, when we opened the film in London, we had no way of knowing that one night would be the night that Mr. Mandela passes on. It's taken, I was saying earlier, it's just taken on a new sort of meaning, and I was quite reluctant actually to sort of jump on the spine of sort of the great man dying and then going off and promoting a movie, but
Sure.
it's just taken on a new sort of agenda.
That's why I mentioned that this has been in the diary for some time. I think you're worrying unduly. I don't think anyone's going to perceive this as a sort of cashing in exercise or trying to jump on the crest of the wave. How did you find out? Were you in the cinema then?
Yes, I was actually watching the film with the Duchess of Cambridge and Prince Will, and we were.
Of course you were. Yeah.
Of course you were, as you are. But it was such a profound moment because just at the moment where the news broke, obviously the royals were told, and I was told at the same time, and I was sitting next to the Duchess, and I looked at her, and we had this very strange moment. She was very, very sort of broken up by it, as was the rest of this the group. And then once the film had ended. Half the audience had no idea, of course, and the credits roll, and myself and the producer think it's only right to go and tell the audience what's happened. And of course, I step on stage and there's a big round of applause and there's this big joyous moment, and then obviously, we have to quell them down a little bit and tell them Mr. Mandela had passed, and it was just awful, it was awful. I mean, but at the same time, there was a sort of a real appreciation for the film they've just seen because it really spans his life.
Well, it becomes a more important piece of work.
Yeah.
Of course it does, as a posthumous legacy, like Gandhi or something like that, which was on telly yesterday, oddly. I caught a bit of it before watching Long Walk to Freedom, and there are clear parallels between the two stories and indeed between the two films. Did you meet him in the preparation for the role?
I didn't actually meet him. He was sort of very weak, and there was an opportunity, but I chose not to. I just wanted to sort of do my interpretation of the man and do him justice. That's it.
And it is an interpretation rather than an impersonation.
Yes.
It's a crucial distinction, that, isn't it? Because as an actor, it's easier maybe just to completely copy someone rather than try and bring something of your own understanding, your own meaning to it.
Absolutely. And I think obviously because when you watch the film, there spans a lifetime of him, but a time in his life that we don't know too much about. And we have to ask the audience to take a leap of faith and look at me, who looks nothing like him, and say, just get engrossed in the story.
You say you look nothing like him. The last man I was talking to about playing Nelson Mandela, sitting in the chair where you're sitting now, was Morgan Freeman.
No.
Yeah, and I said to him, you don't look anything like him, and he got the real hump with me, so I wasn't going to say it to you. He was like, yes, I do. I look a lot like Morgan Freeman. If you ever see us standing next to each other, you can see a lot of physical resemblances. He got the hump, so I was really holding back from saying you don't look much like Nelson Mandela, but you said it first.
No, yeah, we wanted to be really honest about that, especially with the audience. This is not the looky-like version. You're
bigger as well. There's more of you than
well, actually, he's a tall guy,
but not as
thick-boned
as you are. Did you have any hesitation in taking the role? I mean, it's epic, isn't it, for an actor, but for a black actor to play the most famous black man of the 20th century, it's going to be with you forever, whether it went well or badly.
I mean, look, when you sort of look at Morgan Freeman's body of work and you say, right, who could play Nelson Mandela? You say Morgan, you say Denzel, we don't say Idris. It's just one of those things. They did, and I was quite reluctant, quite sort of full of trepidation, to be honest. I wasn't sure how I was going to pull it off, but it was about sort of pulling his presence alive. We didn't want to be a sanctimonious. We wanted to show him as a man that has flaws, and and then give you some sort of appreciation of what he sacrificed and what he's went through to be who he became.
It's not a hagiography. You're quite right. There are elements in it where he emerges somewhat unsympathetic.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, that was important for us. To show that, and important to the family too. We spoke to the family and the foundation extensively about this portrayal, and it's all there in the archives. Everything in the film is very true. This was his life.
Were you surprised at some criticism of the coverage? Some people claiming that the BBC, for example, went in too sort of hard on it. They did too much, sent too many people to the memorial service and the funeral.
Well, actually, I have no idea. I went to the funeral myself, and I'll have to say it was a massive event. And I was privileged to be there, but it was such an event, you know.
Yes, of
It
course.
was a massive
Well,
event.